Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Oner Podcast, the podcast where we break down and review films all in one big, long, unbroken take. I'm Austin Archer, and with me, as always, is my childhood next door neighbor and lifelong best friend,
Kramer, England.
All right. Today we are talking about Zach Cregger's sophomore effort, Weapons.
Yes.
Yeah, as always on the show, or as more recently we've been doing, we will talk for the first 10 minutes or so spoiler free. So no
Yeah.
spoilers. If you don't want to know any spoilers, we'll talk for a little, just our general thoughts about the film, and then we'll get into more specifics, but we will let you know when that happens. Kramer, just what are your general thoughts on Weapons?
General thoughts. Okay, I'm gonna start. I'm kind of two minds of this. I'm gonna start with the negative.
Okay.
The negative is that this movie does not really hold up to scrutiny in many, many ways.
Mm,
There are many things about this movie when you break it down or when you think about it a little bit more, there's not really an answer. There's not a clear answer, or it's a really dumb answer.
mm,
And it's kind of it can be really frustrating when you think about it in certain scenes when you think about them.
yeah.
So overall, like, my negative aspect is like, okay, there's a lot that does not hold up in certain ways
Yeah.
for this movie.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, I don't care about that. I had a ton of fun in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I was engaged the entire time.
Yeah.
Absolutely the entire time. I was totally in it, and I wanted to know what happened next.
Yeah.
So, like every time I think about something, it frustrates me. But then I'm like, man, it was just like so much fun. Like, it was done so well, executed so well. And this is the thing, like, the most important thing about movies, keep people entertained.
Hmm.
And that's what this movie did. Like, I was in it the whole time. I was engaged the whole time. I loved the characters. It was done like there were some things that, I mean, it was scary, but it was more funny than it was scary, I think. But it added some really interesting things. It didn't really lean on tropes that much. It added a lot of really interesting things. Um, so I really loved the movie. I think overall, this is another kind of negative thing that isn't really negative. It's the setup and the mystery is way more interesting than the actual reveal, which we will
Yeah.
get into. But again, the reveal is good enough, and I had a ton of fun with it. And there is a lot of deep context to all of this that you can read this film in many, many different ways,
Yeah.
which Zach Cregger has said is kind of what he wants, which is good. If that's what he wants, that's kind of what it is. But then it's a little hard to narrow it down to what he's trying to say. But again, it was so much fun. Like, I had a ball and I loved being there, and my whole theater had a great time too. So, what were your thoughts?
I feel similarly. My theater, I think, had a blast during this movie. My theater was responding better to this movie than my theater was to The Naked Gun.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I felt like the laughs, like the collective moments of gasping, the collective moments of
Mm,
oh my god, like the
yeah,
collective moments where everyone like collectively went oh no or something like that, or laughed together, were more unified than what I was expecting out of The Naked Gun. I thought that
right.
like a lot of times The Naked Gun, I would laugh out loud at something and I'd be like, "Oh, I was one of the only people that laughed at that." And then I would feel kind of insecure. But
Yeah.
my audience was all on the same page. I thought this movie was a ton of fun. I just I always felt taken care of by Zach Cregger's
Yes.
direction, by
Yeah.
the way that he worked with his cinematographer, by the actors, by the writing. I didn't feel like I had to like I wasn't taken out of it while I was watching it by things that were so noticeably problematic or such big plot holes that I was like, I
Right.
can't get over that.
Yeah.
I agree with you that when I go through with a fine-toothed comb and
Yeah.
look for inconsistencies or things that maybe don't hold up to scrutiny, I can find those things. And I was trying to look for them, especially when the movie ended, because my first thought was like, I don't know what I'm gonna dock points for because I just was like,
Right.
I just enjoyed that so much. And so I
Right.
was like, what will I dock points for? And then as I was thinking, I was like, yeah, there are definitely some plot contrivances that I could be nitpicky about if I wanted to. But like you said, they didn't ruin my experience of watching the movie. They didn't
Yeah.
get like I felt so taken care of by the competent filmmaking that and I
Mhm.
think that like there's sort of a world in cinema where like, a plot hole is okay with me if you can pull it off. It's kinda like what
Right.
can you get away with, you
Right.
know? And it's sorta like, if you can get away with contrived writing where, like, there's something that happens in a plot where I can go, "Well, why wouldn't somebody have noticed this or that thing?"
Right.
But you
Right.
but you can make the movie engaging enough that I don't really care, then it's like, okay, great. You know,
Yeah.
some of the most classic movies that I grew up with are full of things like that, where
Oh,
you
yeah.
can ask questions all day long about, like, what is the specific nature of Doc Brown and Marty McFly's relationship? Why are they best friends? Or you can just be
Right.
like, this movie rules. And it's
Right.
like, you know, and I
Yes.
think sometimes in the modern era, where everybody's got a movie podcast and where everybody's got a letterboxed account and where
Right.
everybody is contributing to audience reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, we are like the scrutiny that we subject modern films to is it's really hard for most movies throughout the history of cinema to stand up to that level of scrutiny. So you're right. There are things that can be pointed at in this film, but as an experience and as like a ride at the cinema, like I was laughing when I think the director wanted me to laugh. I was
Yeah.
scared when I think he wanted me to be scared. I was leaning forward in my seat, eager to learn each new piece of the mystery. I
Mhm.
liked the construction and the
Yeah.
structure of the script, and I felt like it wasn't just gimmicky. I've heard people comparing it to like Paul Thomas Anderson or
Yeah. Yeah.
that he was doing a riff on some of these other kind of like almost anthology movies where they overlap like Crash or something like that. But I was like,
Yeah.
I don't even think that I think just because he's doing that structure doesn't mean that he is definitely homaging anything. And also it's not a problem if he is. But I felt like you said, like this movie's got one of the best premises of any movie this year, of
Yes.
any horror or thriller movie I've seen in a long time, to
Yes.
be honest. And it's why one of my favorite things about this movie was the marketing campaign for it. The premise is so good that they knew we can market this on the premise alone.
Yeah.
It's interesting watching the film. It's like the first 5 minutes of the film are mostly the trailer. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was watching that going, "Oh, this is really interesting because I've already seen all of this, which means the rest of the movie is all of the stuff I haven't seen," which
Yes.
is really exciting.
Yeah.
And you're right, like if I wanted to get nitpicky about it, I could say maybe I was hoping for a little bit more of a spectacular answer to the kind of fundamental question
Right.
at the core premise of the film.
Right.
Maybe I was hoping for something a little more mind-blowing or a little more
Right.
weird or
Yeah. Yeah.
unexpected, but what I got certainly wasn't like a letdown. I
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely was like, "No, this all works," I think, and
Yeah.
I felt pretty satisfied by the conclusion. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And it was good enough. Like,
yeah.
okay, like I can get on board with this. It wasn't yeah, it wasn't something that was disappointing. But then also again, you have such a big premise. It was kind of like, okay, it's that. And they go forward with it. They push with it, which is good. But
Right, and I don't it's like, for the spoiler-free section of this video, I wanna
yeah.
give people
Yeah.
as little as possible because this is a
Yes.
movie
Yes.
where I think the less you know, the better going into it.
It
I
is.
think, the marketing was intentional about withholding information, and
Yeah.
so should we be to say, "If you have not
Right.
seen it yet,
Yeah.
this is us both saying we enjoyed it, and it's
Yeah.
worth the cost of a movie ticket,
Yeah.
and
Go
go
see it.
find out for yourself."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was I mean, it was a fun theater experience. Like, it's
yeah.
not as scary as the marketing is making it out to be.
But
And
there
I
were a few scenes.
oh, there were I'm not saying it's not
Yeah.
scary,
Yeah.
but it's not like a straight horror where it's from
No.
beginning to end there are like, it's a horror comedy, but not even a like, it's not like Shaun of the Dead where that's
It's
more
it's
comedy
it
than horror.
it's
It's more horror
very
than comedy, but
it's very genre fluent.
Yes.
It's like
I like
it's
that
a
word.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a drama sometimes. I mean, it's just like a
Yeah.
straight up like, like there is a
Yeah.
subgenre of mystery film that's just like a missing person film.
Yeah.
And for it's a missing person
Yeah.
mystery film.
It and
Y
it it
like
is an ensemble. Like,
it's
it's
an
not
ensemble film.
we're not
Yeah.
following one story. We're following multiple, which also made it very interesting and kept your but yeah, I don't wanna say too much because I agree, like, but this is the thing, the marketing is gonna tell you it's a horror movie, which is I think was a good idea because it
Mhm.
overall is probably that is the biggest genre that it is. But they intentionally excluded a few things that we'll talk about that I thought was kind of like, okay, that was I understand why they did that. But anyway, go see it for yourself and see what you think because it's a great time.
Absolutely.